Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? This week I'm here with the vibrant, sensational vocalist, Candice Lee. Welcome to the show, Candice. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm fantastic. And for those who may not know, Candice and I met at a show she was performing at, and I get that little chill when I hear someone's voice, and when they're done, I make it a point to go up to them and tell them how much that meant to me and that I'd absolutely love to talk to him. And that's how Candice and I met.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. And thank you so much for having me.
Well, this is the kind of thing that we do. It's your talent supersedes your followers and your listeners and people like that. And we just want to get more people to get into what you're doing because, as I said, when I got to watch you perform live, that's the moment where things change. Like, people can hear recorded music and it's good, but when you see something live and it just makes you go, holy cow, that's when things change. And that's what you did for me. So thank you for that.
Oh, well, thank you for the kind words. I'm glad I could do that.
Well, it was awesome too when we met to find out a little bit about your background, and then makes me want to search a little more. I mean, not only do you sing and write your own songs, but you're also happen to be in a family band, right?
Yeah, my whole family plays. We haven't played that much together recently because we're all kind of in different places. But we used to perform out together. All 5 of us play. My 2 brothers, they're twins, and then my mom and my dad and myself.
And what's that dynamic like, being in a family of musicians and performers? I mean, is it easy, or is it hard, or is it both?
I guess it's both. I think the hardest part was actually finding time to practice with each other. Like, we'd all live in the same house, but it was actually very difficult to find time in all of our schedules that would work to practice at the same time. But other than that, the dynamic, it's a lot of fun, and it's a different type of connection to play with musicians that are your family than musicians in like a band outside of your family. So yeah, it's really cool, and I always had a good time doing it.
Now, growing up in a very polished family, as I'll say, of musicians and artists, when was it for you in your life? I always harken back to that time I first heard music that changed my life, and I remember being a little kid. And do you remember hearing something that, I'm sure music was going on a lot around you, but that moment in time for you where you heard something that just changed what music was, besides that background noise in your house you heard all the time, to the point where it connected with you?
Yeah, well, I guess this is more specific to wanting to start playing the harp. But when I was 5 years old, my mom took me to a concert with 20 harpists on stage. So
Wow.
that definitely blew my mind, and I was so fascinated by the instrument.
And seeing people, that many harpists on stage, I mean, you at 5 years old, I mean, you're barely as tall as a harp is now.
Oh yeah.
So were you just drawn? Was that the first instrument you were drawn to?
Well, I'm still shorter than my harp, by the way. But no, my first instrument, I mean, I guess was vocals just because I started singing ever since I could speak. But I started taking guitar lessons, classical guitar lessons, when I was 6. I didn't start actually taking harp lessons until I must have been around 13 years old. But when I did go to that concert, they let me sit behind the harp, and so I have a picture of me behind the harp when I was 5. So that was
Wow.
cool.
So hearing that music and seeing that perform, I mean, was that the moment things kind of clicked with you with music, or was there something else where you heard, you know, a full completed song with lyrics and everything where it came together and you were just like, wow, that's kind of
Mhm.
what I want to do?
Uh, Honestly, I don't really remember. But I do know that, like I said, I've been singing ever since I can speak, and my mom was really the one who encouraged both me and my brothers to, start music lessons and activities, and she took us to like mommy and me type of classes to learn the basics and just to like have fun and test it out. But other than that, yeah, I'm not really sure if there was like another moment that stands out.
So did you get to choose the guitar? Was that your choice to play?
Yeah, actually, when I was choosing which instrument to start, I wanted to make sure it was an instrument that I could sing with, rather than like a flute or a saxophone where I wouldn't be able to sing at the same time. So that had a big part in why I chose the guitar to start with.
Well, I mean, that's awesome because it shows I got to see you play guitar, so it shows that you've been doing it for quite some time.
Mhm.
And when doing that and starting to figure it out, what was the hardest part for you when trying to put it all together? Because it's one thing to play an instrument, it's
Mhm.
one thing to sing, but it's another to do 'em both at the same time.
Um, Honestly, it just came pretty naturally to me to be able to sing and play at the same time.
All right. See, I don't
Um,
like people like you that kind of stuff comes easy to, because there's a lot of people that work really hard at it and, can't fully make it happen totally.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't perfect when I started out, obviously. I had to practice a lot too. I would get up like before school in the morning and practice guitar before I went to school.
What type of music did you start to surround I mean, playing classical guitar and not normal riffs, like that's what type of music were you pulling off of? Because when you
Mhm.
start playing something besides learning what's being taught, you search out some other things. Was there something that you were searching for or that you were listening to that brought you down a different wave?
Yeah, I didn't really listen to a lot of classical music, honestly. More so I just played it. But I definitely listened to a lot of pop music, just like whatever was popular on the radio. Um, I loved Hannah Montana. I was very inspired by her. Just like, yeah, that type of music, I guess. And then, of
Now,
course, whenever my dad would play like classic rock, I would listen to that too. And I'm a big Pat Benatar fan.
see, dads in their classic rock, man.
Of course.
Us older guys are good for some stuff. Now, when were you're playing and you're learning all this and you're a small child, and was that a full aspiration, like to just like this was something you wanted to do and dedicate your life to? I mean, I know it's hard to make that decision, but for some people, just as soon as they hold that instrument or sing for the first time, they're like, that's it. This
Mhm.
is I'm going to put every ounce of energy I have when I'm done with school, or even during school, for some of us that didn't care what the grade was because we were focusing on music too much. But was there that moment where you're just like, this is it, this is what I want to dedicate my life to?
Yeah, I think I always knew that music was going to be a huge part of my life for the rest of my life. And I always wanted to do something with music. And then as I got older and when I was in high school looking at like colleges and majors and everything, I was starting by looking at music ed. And then I switched over to music business, which, I didn't really know was even an option until later in my life. But yeah, no, I definitely knew that I always wanted music to be part of my life.
Well, it's good that there is a music business thing out there, because the majority of it is a business
Hmm.
nowadays. You're kind of running your own brand. You're running your own, like everything you do is a business nowadays, which is which is good, but it also kind of sucks because
Right.
you're constantly working, and when you kind of take a love, that is music, and you put the business side to it too, it kind of like, do you feel sometimes that's a little draining for you?
Yeah, it can be. I'm glad that I know a lot about the music business and I'm able to do a lot myself, with like marketing, management, and all of that. But sometimes it does take away time from the creative side, and like being able to just sit down and write a song is, I don't know, it just sometimes it's hard to balance both, you know, because I want to be able to have that time to just focus on the creative side of the music.
Yeah, which really should be the most important part of the business, right? Because
Right,
without creating that next song, w- what business do you have to run without it?
right. The music should come first,
Yeah,
always.
it always should. As soon as you wake up in the morning.
Exactly.
Now, starting very young, do you remember the first time you performed in front of strangers? I know your family's all in it. So, like, it's different performing a song in front of your family than it is the first time you perform in front of strangers. Do you remember that time when it was and how you felt?
Hmm. I'm not sure if I remember the very first time, but I did have a bunch of guitar recitals and harp recitals, and I was in a rock band in at the music school where I took the guitar lessons. So we had those performances. Um, I don't remember the very first, but I do know that I was and still get very nervous before performances. Um, but when I was younger, I think I actually found it easier to perform in front of strangers than in front of my family. Or like if there were more people, it was almost easier than a smaller group of people.
Yeah, because your family will tell you the truth, right?
Yeah. No, but I appreciate the honesty and I take honest feedback very well.
Yeah, and getting that and being nervous and all those kind of things like that is, I mean, I don't know if it was Lemmy or they said that the day I'm going to go step on stage and I don't have butterflies is the day I'm going to quit being a rock star.
Right.
So it's always that great nervous energy that pushes you. Now you said you were in a rock band. Okay, what was the name of that rock band in school?
We didn't have a name. It was just called like rock band.
Oh, you
My
didn't get
my
to pick
mom,
names?
no, it was just part of the school. But my mom actually played bass in that band, and I was the reason that she started playing the bass again. She took like 20 years off from playing, but we did get to play together in that band before the family band, so that was
Wow.
cool.
Now you mentioned your first concert was all these harpists. That's awesome. What was the first concert you got to pick to go to?
Katy Perry.
Nice. Love that girl's pipes, and I get into arguments with people all the time about her because I am a wild fan, and I always tell everyone to just go listen to the her Unplugged on MTV. I'm like,
Hmm.
you want to hear what a superstar sounds like? That was the moment for me where I was like, she's the best.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. My parents took me, and we went with my friend. But I've been to a ton of concerts since then.
What's your favorite one you've been to recently?
Um, Recently, AJR always puts on a really good show. Tori Kelly was incredible live. I'm blanking. Been to so many. Yeah, I guess those two. I'll let you know if I think of any more.
Okay, we can come back. That's
Oh,
totally
Demi
fine.
Lovato. I just saw Demi Lovato on Good Morning America, and that was incredible.
That sounds incredible. What was the worst concert you've seen?
Oh. I've never been asked that question. Um, there's definitely been,
I mean, I
um,
recently walked out of a show not a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
really?
yeah. Literally got up and looked at my wife and said, "We can go now."
Oh my goodness. What show was it? Can I ask?
Yeah, we'll talk about that one off the air.
Okay.
But yeah, no, got up and looked at and we had the same look on our face, and I was like, "Yeah, I think we can leave."
Yeah. Well, good for you. Yeah, I can't think of that right now.
All right.
Uh,
Now, if someone never heard your music before, you told them you're a creator of music, you're a writer, singer, songwriter. What would you describe yourself as? Because it's always hard to put that label on you, but you know, unfortunately, there's this thing we work with nowadays where it's algorithms or labels. Where do you put yourself as? I guess I would say a genre based artist.
I would say my music is electronic pop rock. But all of my songs kind of sound different, and I'm still working on, finding like my sound, I guess. But when people ask me like what artist do you sound like, I don't really have a great answer for that either because I'm trying to make my own sound and like I don't want to sound like anyone else. But yeah, electronic pop rock is
Yeah.
usually the
And
genre.
listen, that's great to not try to describe yourself as someone else because when I was telling people about you, they said, "Well, who does she sound like?" And I said, "I don't know." And that's a good thing
Hmm.
because I think what sets people apart and what people don't always take away from music, you find what you like, right? You find what you like and you listen to it, and you kind of sometimes you stay in that aspect, and a lot of times artists or bands that you like, they all start sounding the same because you know it all starts from someone someplace, but the artists that separate themselves is because they are different and they sound different, and there's something about them that you can't really compare them to anybody else, and that's a good place to be if it's done right.
Hmm. Well, thank you.
The day you got your license, what were you listening to in the car?
Oh my goodness. Probably the radio and just the top uh like top 40 pop
You
or
don't
whatever it
remember
was.
that exhilarating moment when you got to blast the radio by yourself in the car for the first time when you were driving?
No, I'm afraid I did not have that moment.
Wow. Wow. I think that's just such a pivotal part in people's lives. I can't believe. Or did you have the radio all the way down because you were still nervous to be driving by yourself?
Probably that. I never really like to blast the music. I mean, I like to have it at like a good volume. I don't want to hurt my ears. Gotta save my ears.
That's why I even had earplugs on at your show.
Yeah,
I go to so many shows that I just have to. Otherwise, I will be deaf a lot sooner than I need to be. So,
yeah. No, I try to wear earplugs at concerts as well. It's
all
very
right.
important.
Now, if you were to play a song for someone
Mhm.
that doesn't know what you do and it's one of your songs, what song would you tell them to listen to?
Out of the songs that are released,
Yes.
yeah, I would say Permission. Permission is the most recent song that I released.
Is that why you would make them play it, listen
No,
to it, or is
it's
that what you think best describes what you're going for?
yeah, I think it best describes what I'm going for, and it's probably the song that I'm most proud of that is released right now. And um, yeah, yeah, that would be why.
Now, here's another thing, and it's, do you think that is your favorite song
That I've
that
really,
you've released? Like, because sometimes your favorite song isn't naturally always the song you would play for people.
yeah, it's. I think it is my favorite, and it is the one I would also play for people.
Okay. Now, when it comes to musical memories, is there a memory in your life that stands out that was surrounded by music that you think of, you know, often? You know, was it a show, or was it a show you were playing, or a show you were at, or a moment when music was playing that you just you always go back to that as a special time in your life so far?
Hmm. Um, yeah, I mean, so you said shows that I've played. I guess one of the coolest shows I played was I opened for Drake Bell from the Nickelodeon show Drake and Josh. Um, and that was definitely the biggest crowd as like um like as my band had. Like, my family band performed in front of a bigger crowd, but for my own show, that was the biggest crowd, and like the energy from the audience was just amazing, and it was such a really like really cool experience getting to perform in front of an audience like that, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, it was really just like a great feeling. And I was super nervous, as we talked about earlier, about being nervous before shows, but it's very hard to tell the difference between the feelings of being nervous and excited. So I try to channel more of the excitement.
I usually think they're one and the same.
Yeah.
There's I got to say, maybe it goes from 20 butterflies to 19 butterflies in the stomach, to the difference, that fine line between nervous and excited. So,
Hmm.
I mean, when you're in front of an audience like that, may not know you, what's your biggest fear at that moment?
Um, Forgetting lyrics. um, which I've done plenty of times. Yeah, and I guess I just want people to have a good experience as well and enjoy my music and be able to relate to it. And I hope that I can inspire others.
Now, when you got
So,
off a stage at that show,
mhm,
I mean, do you remember how big of a smile you had on your face? Like, if you think
huge.
about it, yeah. Can
Yeah.
you still feel it, how big that smile was? Because I have those moments where it's just like, I remember that, and when I go back to it, like, I can almost smell the same smells and
Yeah.
feel the same things.
Oh, yeah. Adrenaline was rushing. I was just in such a good mood. I was very proud of myself. And yeah, I mean, even when I watch video clips back from that performance, like, I'll get butterflies, especially like in the opening song, like right before I'm about to begin, like I still can feel those feelings.
Yeah, and see, that's what is, I always go back to this, and music is, for me, it's a time machine. It is the closest thing in reality I have to a time machine, because I can
Mhm.
hear a song and I can remember where I was, who I was with, what it smelled like. If it was raining, I can feel the water hitting me on the head as I'm walking, listening to a song. Like, it's just one of those things that I, I've never found anything else like that in my life. And like, to know that it's out there. And sometimes, like, I'll be maybe in a dark place, and like, I know what song's going to bring me out of it and make me feel happy. And there's nothing else like that. Like, there's not like a movie that I can watch that's going to make me happy the way a song is going to make me happy.
Right. Time machine. I like that. I've never heard music be compared to that.
Well, you should listen to the show, because I say it very often, because it really is. And once I do say it, when you think about it, and because it took me a long time to realize that, like, why do I feel these things when it comes to music? And it's usually because when you first hear something, it automatically takes this little tiny sliver in your brain, and it's a sensory overload, and then it just stays there. And then when
Hmm.
that song comes on again at some point, you're like, whoa, what's going on?
Hmm. Yeah, music is special. It's very special like that.
Do you have a band in your life that you turn to for stuff like that, or an artist, someone that you constantly turn to, someone that I like to say, I have a couple bands in my life that they just never let me down, and they're always there when I need them. Do you have any bands like that, or artists that you listen to?
Um, I would say for me that it kind of changes, like the songs, like my go-to songs. Um, but some artists that I really like um, would be like I mentioned Demi Lovato, Ed Sheeran, um, Tate McRae, Pat Benatar. I also mentioned earlier. Um, yeah.
Okay, now, if let me is there someone you listen to who you think is extremely overrated and underrated at the same time, for stuff that people may not know of them?
Hmm. Underrated and overrated.
And I usually put that to a likeness of, if they're overrated, it's because certain people absolutely love them, because they're songs that are popular, just so popular it's hard to deny them. but then the songs that people rarely ever know about are the reasons why they're such great artists.
Right. No, that's a really good question. And I definitely can think of people. It's just on the spot, I'm having trouble to think of anyone.
It's okay.
We're gonna finish this, and as soon as we're done, I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, that's who I should have said.
That's fine. You can always email me and I'll put it in the write up. But I mean,
Okay. Yeah, let me think about that one.
okay. Now, doing things on your own and also having a family band on the side, or to still perform with. I mean, where do do you feel pulled, or do you have that full support of your family behind you to do your own thing and to be to be the breakout star of the family?
Yeah, I definitely feel the support from my family. They're all extremely supportive, and I'm so grateful for that. Yeah, I think they all know that I'm really the most serious about music, and it's more of a just like for fun for the five of us. So there's no tension there. um, yeah, and I was like the lead. They all say of the family band. Like I would sing and play guitar. One of my brothers also sang and played guitar. But yeah, and the way I'm doing music, it's different from how they do it.
Well, it's a nice backup too, right? It's you have that, and sometimes when you could be working so hard for one portion of what you're doing with music, to have that too there, to always just as I would say, like, old reliable, to just be like, all right, I need to just go do this again because I'm stuck doing something else right now, but I can't figure it out. And that's a nice little thing to have. And to work with a family of artists, I mean, I have no idea what that would be like. I mean, it's got to be creatively fulfilling, I would guess, at sometimes, right?
Yeah, it's cool. um, we have fun.
Now, you said your family band has played bigger, than Drake Bell, which that's pretty crazy to think. But where do you, when you are performing, where do you feel most comfortable? In
um,
the smaller settings, like I Saw You, the more intimate tables with candles, or you know, with people standing there clapping and screaming?
yeah, I guess it just really depends. I felt pretty comfortable at where you saw me. I was just a little bit nervous because I haven't really played live in a while. Um, before that, so I think coming back to it, I was like, oh, okay, like this is it's been a while, but like that was okay. And then also bigger stages like the Drake Bell one. I guess I get a little bit more nervous just since there's like more people, but as soon as I'm in the middle of like the first song or I get to the second song, then I definitely calm down and like I'm in it and it's the
Yeah, you
butterflies
zone
go
out.
away. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
now you're in the performance and nothing else matters.
Right, right. It's more the anticipation, like before you start and just um, but as soon as I start, I'm good.
Yeah. And now, there was a big moment in your life. You had a pretty cool viral moment you talked about on stage. And I mean, for those who don't know, I mean, first off, who was it? How did it come about? How did everything come together? Because it's a pretty cool little story.
Yeah, so Ed Sheeran duetted me on TikTok and he sang with me. Basically, I posted a video singing his song Bad Habits and I left spaces for someone else to sing the other lines, not thinking that Ed Sheeran himself would sing the other lines. Um, but 2 months after I posted that video, he duetted it and he sang with me, and the video has over 14 million views. And it was absolutely insane, and I still haven't processed it.
I
I don't
could
think I ever will.
no, and that's the thing, putting something, just putting something out there, and then you know the person that you would least likely probably think would be the
Mm-hmm.
one to do it does it. I mean, that that has to give you some provenance of what it is you're doing, because it has to be that extreme boost to help get rid of a couple of those butterflies, to know that, someone, you know, thinks what you did is just as special as how they intended it to be.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok can be really draining and exhausting, and sometimes it's discouraging too when you work so hard on your videos and your music and your content and whatever, and then you get 2 views or whatever. And it's not all about the views, of course, but it definitely was a big boost when that happened, and it was really exciting. And um, yeah, so thanks, Ed Sheeran, if you're listening to this.
And I have to feel though at sometimes, and for me who has got to watch this whole cycle of the way the music industry's changed and the way to where we are now. I mean, I'm the kid. The first piece of music I had was a record, and then a cassette tape, and then so I've followed this progression. Thank God I never had 8-track, but I mean, I've followed this progression to where we are today, and now I'm in this media stream of doing things that way, and worrying about likes and worrying about follows and worrying about how much you put your heart and soul into something, and then put it out there for people to either take it or leave it. And I mean, back in the day, it was, well, here's your record sales. So, I mean, whether it was 10,000, 10,000 sales on a record back in the 80s was, you know, if you weren't one of the biggest bands selling millions, 10,000 was still a good starting off point.
Hmm.
And, nowadays it's hard to quantify, especially when like you see how many downloads your song gets, right? So
Right, it's a whole nother world. It's
exactly.
crazy.
So when you're creating, and this is what I like to find out with people who grew up in the age that we're in now, when you're processing and trying to come up with a new song, or trying to come up with something new, do you take into account all of those things, whether it's the algorithm or how long your song needs to be to fall into some sort of playlist? Do you take any of that into account when you're creating what you're creating?
Um, Not really. I think that I just make the music that I want to make and what I think sounds good and what I think people will relate to. Um, I think as far as like the length of the song, I don't want to make my songs too long, but I don't know if that has anything to do with me just being aware of people's like listening attention span, or if that's just how I want to make the music. But no, I don't think that I've really been making music based on any of that.
Well, it's a breath of fresh air to hear you say that. I have talked to people that will say, yes, we intended this song to be 2 minutes and 48 seconds long because we knew where it would fall.
Yeah, a lot
And
of people, yeah.
I think that's hard. I think that's hard, especially for an artist to, and a lot of these people that are doing that, they, they really want to make music, and they're working really hard to be the best musician they can be. But it's nowadays it's a completely different game than it was when you could just listen. Here's the 12 tracks that I made my album, and they're my favorite 12 out of the 24 that I wrote, and here's my album. And there was no worry about that. The only worry about was where it's going to be on the shelf in the record store.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people like trying to make their music so that it would go viral on TikTok, or we have to write it so that it would fit TikTok. And I don't know, I can't see myself doing that.
And you know what I call those? I call those jingles. It's a commercial jingle. It's 30 seconds long, right? Or nowadays for a drug commercial, it's a minute and 30 seconds. So you're writing something to fit in as a placement holder, right?
Hmm.
So you're doing something different. And I've tried to explain to people, like, oh, well, I wrote this this song to go on TikTok. I'm like, well, it doesn't. It's a jingle. It's that's a commercial jingle. It's not I know you think it's a song and that's great, but there's a, chord verse chorus kind of thing that you have to a progression to a song where, yeah, you made a snippet of a song. So
Hmm.
it is tough.
Yeah. I just like to stay authentic to myself and my songwriting and just, hope that the music will carry through.
Do you have a process for yourself set, or, or, I mean, are you still figuring it out? Is there, a tried and true way that you're doing things now that you feel like how you got to permission? Like from that moment, did you kind of figure something out to be why that's your, like, okay, this is where I'm going? Is that what you're still trying to create and produce while you're writing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm still in that process. Definitely going in the right track. But it's just, experimenting with different producers and working with different people um, to try and get that sound. And I worked with three producers on that song, and I think the combination of working with all three of them really worked out well. And they're all extremely talented and great people. So, I'm trying to work with them again for future music. And um, yeah, so there's not really like a set process. And as far as songwriting, I kind of am all over the place with that as well. Like sometimes I'll write the music first, sometimes I'll write the lyrics first, and it's really just whenever I feel inspired by something that, I go pick up my guitar and I start writing. And usually it starts with me and my guitar, and that's how like the song first comes out.
Well, I mean, that is the big thing, the inspiration, right?
Hmm.
And there's a lot of things that people become inspired by. A lot of, I saw a leaf falling one day, and all of a sudden I get the inspiration for something, and it's just it's finding it when it's there, and it's so hard to contain. It's one of those things. I keep a notebook by my bed. I wake up from something that I thought was so vivid in my head, and I just write it down, and then I'll fall back asleep, and I'll wake up in the morning. Half the time it is total utter fucking nonsense, and other times it's like, oh yeah, that was really cool, that's a great line, I'm going to use that.
Yeah, you just got to write everything down. You never know.
Thank God for notes in
Oh
in
my
our
goodness.
phones.
And voice memos.
Yeah.
What would I do without them?
Now, in the type of music you create, in the type of music that someone, do you have a guilty pleasure that someone would be really surprised you get a lot of enjoyment out of? Like, is there like a black metal band that you're really into that people be like, oh, I would never picture her to like that? Or is there something out there that someone be really surprised you get a lot of enjoyment out of?
um, Music wise?
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. um, I don't really have a fun answer for this one. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, let me put it this
No,
way.
no
Is
metal bands.
is there a moment that someone caught you listening to some sort of music and you got a little nervous right away? Like there's that 1 second, like, oh, let me turn this off.
Not really, unless it's like my own music and I don't, and I'm like, oops, no, I'm not listening to my own music. But other than that, no, I don't know. I don't think so.
All right. Now I'm going to ask this question. Why the harp?
So it's a combination of the story I told in the beginning of, seeing the 20 harpists on stage and being fascinated with the instrument since I was 5. And then, when I was in middle school, we had someone working in our house, in our bathroom, and he was talking about how his daughter plays the harp, and her harp teacher happened to live in the town next to me. And I thought it was like the perfect opportunity to start taking lessons. So we rented a harp and I tried it out. I fell in love with the instrument and then kept going from there. And here we are.
What's easier to write a song on?
Um, Guitar for me, but I definitely like to add harp parts into all of my music. Permission has harp in it. How We Used to has harp in it. The Charm has harp in it. And then going forward, I'm gonna try to put harp in all of my songs as well because I love taking an instrument that you wouldn't really think to put in pop music, and then making it having it in pop music.
Well, we're going to try to push you to be, the first major big pop star that's just on stage with a harp, because honestly, that would be one of the coolest, most righteous things that you would ever see it, like someone at the Grammys, right? Sitting there singing a pop song with the harp, like in my lifetime, I can't remember that happening, and I'm pretty old, so.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Let's definitely do that. That's a plan. I did bring the harp out at the Drake Bell show, and I did play it for one song with my band, which we actually never rehearsed before the show with the harp. So it was just, we're gonna go for it.
Wow, talk about taking a chance.
Yeah, I mean we rehearsed the song, but I never played the harp during our rehearsals. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so that's a huge chance.
yeah, it was fun.
Well, see, keep taking chances like that in life, and you never know what can happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, here's a morbid question.
Oh goodness.
The Earth is coming to an end. There's a meteor. It's going to hit us in 5 minutes. It's Armageddon, but they don't blow up the rock. You have 5 minutes left to live, and you have to listen to one song. What song would you listen to?
Can it be my own?
It can.
Yeah, I would say either Permission or one of my songs that I'm working on that is unreleased.
Okay. All right. So I'll get rid of the morbidity, and I won't ask the follow-up question I usually ask to that, because let's stay positive here in today's world. Now, you're working on new music, right?
Mhm.
So, what's the, coming up in life, what's the thing you're looking forward to most? Is it more shows? Is it releasing more music? What are you looking forward to most in your musical life next?
Yeah, well, I'm really excited about this new music that I'm working on. I think it definitely shows growth as a songwriter. So I'm definitely excited to get these out there. Yeah, I'm excited for more shows as well. I'm actually going to a songwriting festival in Hawaii in 2 weeks, so I'm really excited about that.
I heard about that. So listen, I would love to go to any type of festival in Hawaii.
Yeah, me too. I'm very excited.
So
Yeah.
what is that what is a songwriting festival all about, for those who don't know?
Well, I'm not entirely sure myself, but from what I've seen and read about it, and what people have told me, there will be a bunch of panels, opportunities to meet with mentors, open mics, a songwriting competition, and just a lot of networking and, yeah, meeting people to collaborate with and stuff like that.
All right. Well, we wish you the best of luck out there, and don't get stuck in Hawaii.
Thank you. Honestly, that wouldn't be the worst thing, but I will try not to.
Well, listen, we're going to come in on our time here. So before I move to our last segment, I'd like to give you an opportunity right now to tell people how to find all your stuff, what you're doing. We know you're going to be in Hawaii in a couple of weeks. So, unless you're listening in Hawaii, to look her up while she's out there, and go watch her perform and vote on her songs. But I give you this opportunity to tell everybody how to find what you're doing, all your cool handles, and whatever it may be for people to find your stuff.
Sure. So all of my social media is at Candice Lee Music. I'm sure you're gonna write it out, but it's Candice with an I, Candice. My website is CandiceLeeMusic.com, and you can find me and my music on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, pretty much wherever you listen to music, under my name, Candice Lee. Pretty simple.
Awesome. Yeah. Very, very simple. Listen, there are some times where I've had people on that had like 12 different things are like, yeah, we missed the boat. Like it was every time we created something, it was already created, and it was hard to, come up with something so simple. So like for me, for instance, it was hard for us to get one viral thing of one name going, but
Yeah.
all right.
Understandable.
So moving on to our last segment, I would probably implore you to pull out your phone. And it is going to be 3 things that you're listening to right now that you would like other people to check out.
Okay. Well, I gotta give a shout out to Ed Sheeran. I've been listening to Bad Habits by Ed Sheeran featuring Bring Me the Horizon. I love that version. Charlie Puth's new song, Charlie Be Quiet. You said 3, right?
That's 3, yeah. Our segment's called the Weekly Threes.
Okay. What's the last one? Sorry, I'm scrolling through my Spotify. Okay, and then I'll go with Tate McRae. She's All I Want to Be.
All right, cool. All right, my 3 for this week, everyone, is the first one is a band called The Ballroom Thieves. The album is called Clouds. Some fun folk rocky stuff to check out. Next is an indie band called Well Wisher. The name of the album is called That Weight, and that's WEIGHT. And last but not least, Skull Crusher. Female vocalist, way cool. I guess I'd kind of equated her as the hard to label it, but female Elliott Smith. I'll put it that way. So Skull Crusher, the new thing is called It's Like a Secret. Those are the 3 things I'm listening to this week. So everyone go check out our weekly threes. Candice, thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure getting to meet you and your mother when you performed. It was a pleasure watching you perform. I'm glad to have you here and spread the word of what it is you're doing. I think you're extremely talented. I wish you all the best, and we hope that we can bring you a little bit closer to the forefront with what it is you're doing with your music, because it is unique, it's different, and we appreciate people taking chances on the music they're creating. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for everything you're doing. It was also a pleasure meeting you and chatting with you. And I wish you the best as well, and hope we can stay in touch.
We absolutely will. But again, thank you. Good luck out in Hawaii.
Thank you.
And everyone here, you know what time it is. It's time to go out. Listen to Candice Lee and have a great fucking time.
You took all my words and twisted them in knots. Made me sound like the bad guy, like I had evil thoughts. Wish you could feel the pain from your lies, but it's obvious you're not one to empathize. It started blowing up, yeah, it started blowing up. My heart just couldn't take it. I wanted to give up, yeah, I wanted to give up. It hurts too much to fake it. I didn't give you permission to hurt me like that. I got my own ammunition and I'm not holding back. Baby, I'm having a heartbreak, but I'm under attack. I got my own ammunition and I'll fire right back. You won't break me down today, I won't let you. My body healed, but the scars will stay like a tattoo. I will not feel ashamed, yeah, I got thick skin. Now it's time for you to taste your own medicine. It started blowing up, yeah, it started blowing up. My heart just couldn't take it. I wanted to give up, yeah, I wanted to give up. It hurts too much to fake it. I didn't give you permission to hurt me like that. I got my own ammunition and I'm not holding back. Baby, I'm over the heartbreak, but I'm under attack. I got my own ammunition and I'll fire right back. Started blowing up, yeah, it started blowing up. My heart just couldn't take it. I wanted to give up, yeah, I wanted to give up. It hurts too much to fake it. I didn't give you permission to hurt me like that. I got my own ammunition and I'm not holding back. Baby, I'm over the heartbreak, but I'm under attack. I got my own ammunition and I'll fire right back.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.